Okay, Emily. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. My name is Nicole Malliotakis, president of the American Hellenic Institute. On behalf of all of us here at the AHI, our nonprofit independent Greek American Public Policy Center, it is my pleasure to host a virtual celebration, a congressional salute to commemorate the Bicentennial of Greek independence. Longtime AHI members, supporters, and friends will know we have proudly organized this event annually on Capitol Hill. And although we look forward to our return to hosting events there, we are just as excited to hold today's program. The American Revolution was inspired by the same ideals of the Enlightenment, which inspired the Greek War of Independence. The American people manifested their adherence to these ideas through their ardent vocal and humanitarian support for the Greek cause. American Philhellenes understood these ideas and principles all too well. Their support, especially those serving in Congress such as Daniel Webster and Henry Clay, to name only a few, was critical. Those members spoke eloquently on behalf of the Greek cause in the U.S. Congress, and their stirring remarks mobilized American citizens to raise funds for the Greek cause with events held in major U.S. cities, and even inspired Philhellenes to leave the United States to go to Greece and join the cause there. Today, we celebrate the bicentennial of Greek independence, the enduring strength of the Hellenic spirit, and the shared American and Hellenic ideas and values that have served us as the foundation of a strong U.S.-Greece relations for 2 centuries. With the Greek Americans community's congressional champions, our modern-day version of Webster and Clay, if you will. And because we have a very long and complicated program here, ladies and gentlemen, with those few opening comments, we have with us our first speaker today, Congressman Donald Payne from my old former state of New Jersey. And Congressman, we welcome you to this celebration, and we give you the floor for your comments to celebrate this commemoration. We can't hear you, Congressman.
No one ever remembers to unmute. Well, good morning, and it's a real pleasure to be here for your congressional salute to Greek Independence Day event. I want to thank the American Hellenic Institute for the chance to speak with you today. This year is a special one in Greek history. It was 20 years ago that the Greek rebelled against their Ottoman oppressors and became a free and independent nation. And they received strong support from Americans in their efforts. It is important for Americans to understand and celebrate Greek independence. The ancient Greek cities-states inspired the American founding fathers when they wanted to create the United States. In Greece, the founding fathers saw a country where several independent communities came together to form a powerful nation. And that nation is still important in political and cultural force worldwide. In Congress, I've worked to continue the strong relations between the United States and Greece. That is why I support the Eastern Mediterranean Security and Energy Partnership Act. A strong relationship between the U.S. and Greece is vital to the region. It will show neighboring countries that America's commitment to liberty is unwavering. But I support the Greek culture as well. I repeatedly called on Congress to push England to return the Parthenon marbles to Greece. Respect for the country's independence includes strong respect for that country's culture and heritage. If we can't get the marbles back to Greece, if we could get the marbles back to Greece, it would restore the Parthenon's heritage and would honor Greek independence. I'm working to convince other members in Congress to support this. So thank you again for the invitation of the 200th anniversary of Greece. My father was a great supporter of Greece and the Hellenic culture, and I have followed in his footsteps and will continue to fight for the marbles to be returned to the Parthenon. My father started in that fight and taught me about it, and I will continue his legacy in Congress with the great relationship that we have with the Greek people. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Congressman, thank you very much. And you're so right. Your father was a tremendous man, and you follow very nicely in his footsteps. He will be very proud of you and for the continuing work that you do to the strengthening of the U.S.-Greek relationship, and of course of that particular, very important project of the Parthenon marbles. And hopefully one day they will be back where they belong. So we thank you for that continued work, and it's always a pleasure to see you, and wish you continued good success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Congressman. Now I also see we have the ambassador of Cyprus with us. And at this point, we will continue. And I think it's appropriate, as I would have done if I were on Capitol Hill right now. Typically, an event of this commemoration, we start with a celebratory way. And if we were on Capitol Hill, we would also have food, and we would also have Greek dancers. But we can't offer you the food, and we can't offer you the Greek dancers. But we can offer is Anastasia Zannis, an international soprano and a good friend who is from Athens, joining us. And she will sing both the Greek and the American national anthems for us. Anastasia.
Good evening from Athens. Σε γνωρίζω από την κόψη του σπαθιού την τρομερή. Σε γνωρίζω από την όψη που με δυο μετράει τη γη. Απ' τα κόκαλα βγαλμένη των Ελλήνων τα ιερά και σαν πρώτα ανδριωμένη χέρι ο χέρι ελευθεριά και σαν πρώτα ανδριωμένη χέρι ο χέρι ελευθεριά και σαν πρώτα ανδριωμένη χέρι ο χέρι ελευθεριά. And now the American National Anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight all the we're so gallantly streaming, and the rockets roar, the bombs bursting in air give proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave on the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, President Nicole Malliotakis. And I also would like to give my special thanks to this beautiful place. And we are here at the American School of Classical Studies here at Athens. Thank you, the director, Jennifer Niles, for the hospitality. And you can see here from Parthenon, a plaster cast. After my performance at the Acropolis a few days ago for the 200 years celebration, today is a very special day for me being part of your event at the AHI. Thank you, President Nick Larigakis. Zito Yelas, happy Independence Day.
Anastasia, thank you very much for that wonderful rendition as always.
Thank you.
And now we will continue back with the program. And of course, I was also remiss, and I should have said that our annual congressional salute is always and cannot happen without the co-sponsorship and support of the co-chairs of the Hellenic Caucus, Representative Carolyn Maloney and Representative Gus Bilirakis. And we will hear from both of them during the course of this morning. But we have with us right now Congressman John Sarbanes from Maryland. John, are you there? I see your name on the screen. There you are.
Here I am. I'm going to pull over to the side of the road here.
Be safe now. No texting or no zooming and driving.
Right. Let me just back up here. Okay. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to join you. And thank you to the American Hellenic Institute. And thank you for that very moving introduction to the gathering today. Zito Elas, Zito Ameriki, and Zito Eleftheria is what we say on this day, but we say it with particular passion and commitment and pride today because we're celebrating the 200th anniversary of Greek independence, the Bicentennial. I was privileged a few years ago to be at Fort McHenry for the Bicentennial of the War of 1812. The Fort McHenry is in my district, in the 3rd District of Maryland. Fort McHenry was the site of the Battle of Baltimore, where a young, nascent United States resisted again the British after having gained independence in 1776. It was an opportunity for our young nation to demonstrate that the freedom we had tasted was something that we did not want to surrender. And so it's often called the Second War of Independence. And I was privileged to be in attendance at that bicentennial, obviously very connected in terms of values and principles that we are celebrating to the bicentennial we celebrate here. When you think of it, the values of democracy, of liberty, we of course know and are very proud of the fact that that was forged in ancient Greece. It was then infused into the American Revolution. We know that the leaders of that revolution and the founders of our democracy and the shapers of our Constitution were very much motivated and steeped in the democracy of the ancient Greeks. We see evidence of that all through the Capitol complex, where I am privileged to serve with my colleagues every day. So forged in ancient Greece, infused into the American Revolution, and then reborn again, those principles of liberty and democracy in the Greek Revolution of 1821. Hearing those two national anthems at the beginning of these proceedings, again, we hear them often. If you're of Greek American, Greek descent, you certainly value the Greek national anthem, and we sing often the American national anthem. But again, as is often the case, those anthems are rooted in the principles of liberty and call to mind the efforts of those revolutionaries who secured freedom and liberty and independence in their time. So this is a very important moment for the Greek American, the Cypriot American diaspora, obviously for Greece. And I join in all the celebrations that are being carried out over the course of this year, certainly in Greece and Cyprus and all the places where the diaspora live and thrive. It's going to be a great year of celebration. We do it obviously in the midst of this pandemic. It makes it more challenging, but nothing can diminish the pride and enthusiasm we are going to express during this year. Let me just close with this. In the same way that Americans in 1812 demonstrated that they didn't want to relinquish the independence they had secured in 1776. Greeks today, every day, reassert their commitment to the democracy, the freedom, the liberty that they secured in 1821. And the United States can play and continues to play a very important role with our close bond to Greece and Cyprus in making sure that those freedoms remain. And I want to thank Gus Bilirakis. I want to thank Congresswoman Maloney for their leadership of the Hellenic Caucus, and all my colleagues and Philhellenes who serve with me here in the United States House of Representatives for their continued strong commitment to that alliance with Greece and Cyprus, which makes a difference every single day. Again, to the American Hellenic Institute, thank you for your leadership, your knowledge, the depth of your experience on issues that matter to our community. And with that, Nick, let me give it back to you.
John, thank you very much. I appreciate your taking the time, your comments, well said, and also for being safe and pulling off to the side of the road to make the presentation. You practice what you preach.
Yes.
Have a good day. All the best.
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
Our next guest comes from what's colloquially known as the small wonder, but that small wonder right now is the center of the political world of the United States of America, and that's the state of Delaware. And it is a pleasure to have with us Representative Lisa Blunt-Rochester to help us celebrate today. Congresswoman, welcome, and the floor is yours. You're on mute.
I think everyone is, that's the term for 2020 and 2021, you're on mute. But I want to say, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I am glad to be able to spend a few minutes before my committee hearing to just join you in the celebration of Greek Independence Day. And particularly since this is the 200th anniversary, the bicentennial, that's an incredible accomplishment. And I want to thank the American Hellenic Institute for allowing me to join you. Also want to thank my great friends, Representatives Carolyn, Maloney, as well as Gus Bilirakis, who I work on many projects together, both especially during our energy and commerce work, for making this event possible and for their leadership. And it was good to see my good friend, Congressman Sarbanes. Today, we pause to virtually celebrate and mark the 200th anniversary of the Greek people's heroic battle for independence from the Ottoman Empire. That spirit of independence and liberty has also marked a common bond between our two nations over these past 2 centuries. And in that time, our two countries have formed lasting and strong economic, social, and geopolitical bonds. And in my home state of Delaware, I'm so glad Nick mentioned Delaware and how proud we are of Joe Biden as our president. Also our great senators, Tom Carper and Chris Coons, who I get to work with. But we also have a rich, culturally diverse Greek American community, one of whom, Jimmy Marvellis, was the one who invited me and told me about the event today. We really have a real strong bond in our own community and Delaware. And I want to personally thank him and many in our community that have personally had the hospitality and friendship that they've shown me. Again, today is a day to pause and reflect, but I also think it's an important time for us. And I'm glad that I could be a part of this, because what the Greek community has contributed not only to us as a country, you've also contributed to me personally. One of my dad's best friends is Greek, and my parents have been to Greece. We talk about just the bond. His name is Teddy and my dad's name is Teddy. And we talk so much about the common threads of family, faith, friendship, culture, and celebrating that. And today, as we look at the independence of Greece, we also look toward the future the future relationship. And so I'm glad to see the ambassadors present. I give my remarks and my kudos to you for your presence and for your leadership. And I thank, again, the Pan-Hellenic organization for all that you do. Thank you, congratulations, and let's celebrate this major, major milestone. Good to be with you.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for bringing up the Greek American community of Delaware, because for many who may not be aware, it was the Greek American community led by the late Dr. Dean Lomas, who passed away just a few months ago, who at the time, back in '74, was frankly the one who educated our current president, Biden, Senator Biden, then as to relate it specifically to the Cyprus issue, and was always in touch with the senator over the years in terms of the issues regarding the Eastern Mediterranean. And so we thank you for following in those footsteps, and we look forward to you and working with you as we move these issues for the rule of law in the Eastern Mediterranean forward. So wishing you a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I will ask the ambassadors, hopefully you have a little time you can indulge some latitude, as I have, well, he was there, Gus Bilirakis. There he is up in my corner. Gus, I want to give you the floor as the co-chair, of course, of the Congressional Hellenic Caucus that was co-founded by your father, along with Carolyn. And it's always a pleasure to see you. You need no introduction. You wear Hellenism on your sleeve as you wear Americanism on your sleeve. So that makes you a great Greek American. So I don't know if you're in Washington or in Florida right now. I see an icon in the back of your behind you.
I'm in DC.
You're in DC. Well, welcome, Gus. No introduction to you, my friend. You do a lot of great work to promote the bilateral relationship, and it's a pleasure to have you here today to celebrate one of many over the course of this year, the 200th anniversary bicentennial of Greek independence.
Nico, thank you very much. And we share that commonality where we wear our Hellenism and our Americanism on our sleeves. And I appreciate all you do on behalf of our U.S., but also on behalf of our Alada and our Kipro. And I know you do it from your heart. It's so evident. So we appreciate everything you do. And the ambassadors are the best, really, that we've had. The Greek ambassador, but also the Cypriot ambassador to the U.S. I've been blessed to work with you for the last year and a half, and I look forward to working with you again on these issues. What's good for Greece is good for the U.S. What's good for the U.S. is good for Greece. There's no conflict there. And in this country, we celebrate our identity. And we really should have the 200th anniversary of Greek independence should be celebrated throughout the year. And we are, right? We started, Nico.
Oh, yeah.
Already. And I think it's so important that our Phil-Hellenes, of course, our Hellenes that are second and third generation, make sure they know how important it is to both countries, but also our Phil-Hellenes. And Lisa Blunt Rochester is an outstanding legislator, by the way. She just spoke, and I want to get her even more involved in the Hellenic Caucus. Nico, I want to also say that, and you're the first one that I'm telling this to, besides Liz. I just whispered it to Liz. I think it's a good idea that we bring all the groups together and have a roundtable, the major groups, and be represented there at the roundtable, along with the ambassadors, and come up with the priorities for this term, legislative priorities, what have you. I know the appropriations process has already begun, but I think it's really important that we do this.
Look forward to it.
Work together. So I'll have them get in touch with AHI, with the group, Nico, and let's set this up as soon as possible, even if it has to be virtually. Unfortunately, we don't love the virtual. We're Greeks and we like to be together, but we have to do what we have to do. And look, it hasn't stopped us from celebrating Greek Independence Day. I want to focus on just very quickly, because I do have a hearing. Liz is calling me. We have a substance abuse hearing, and that's affected all of our communities, unfortunately, throughout the nation. And it's something that we have to work on, mental health and substance abuse. But the unsung heroes, first of all, you hear about Kolokotronis, you hear about Kanaris, you hear about Bubulina, and so many Ypsilantis, and so many more. Miaolis, my mom's maiden name is Miaolis, and we're from the islands. But what about the priests and the monks that kept the language alive? Really incredible. Again, our customs, traditions, more importantly, our thriskia and our glossa, and that was due to the priests and the monks for 400 years. So again, there's nothing that can stop us if we work together and we're unified. So, σας ευχαριστούμε για όλα, and ζήτω η Κωσιπέμπτη Μαρτίου, ζήτω η Ελλάδα, η Κύπρο και η Αμερική μας. Ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ, and I hope to see you very soon. God bless.
All the above, Gus. Thank you as always, and I certainly look forward to your suggestion to get together and to map out a strategy to promote the Eastern Mediterranean is in the best interest of the United States and to promote the rule of law and international law. So I congratulate you always on your leadership and your comments, and wish you a good day, and give Liz my best as well. Tell her we got you out of here in good time.
Yes. Thank you, Nico. Thank you.
And now I will turn to our two ambassadors, which they've been patiently waiting, and I apologize, but these programs unfortunately have their little issues. But it goes without saying, Ambassador Alexandra Papadopoulou, who represents the Republic of Greece here in Washington, and who's done a tremendous job, is a force of nature as far as I can tell. And she, I don't know how many hours a night she sleeps, but I don't think it's that many. And how many of these now have you done, Madam Ambassador? How many commemorations? And we still have about another 7 months to go in this calendar year. But it's a good thing to continuously remind ourselves regarding the heroes of 1821, what it takes to fight for liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and their sacrifices, and people sacrifice for that to happen, for us to be here today. And we should never forget that. And of course, you do a tremendous job in representing your government here in Washington, D.C. And with that, no stranger to any of our presentations and our programs here, we welcome you once again to commemorate the 200 years of Greek independence. So welcome, Madam Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Larigakis. Thank you, Nick. You've been very good to me since I came here. Very, very wonderful cooperation, good advice, sound advice, and I'm counting on that in the months and years to come, as long as I'm going to be here. And maybe after I leave, we can continue talking. We had so many plans for this year, and then coronavirus struck, and everything had to be revised. And I have to say, I was a little panicked. I said, how we're going to do it? Nothing is going to happen. But the 25th of March, I have to say, the day of the Greek celebration, I was very touched because, seeing the entire United States in blue and all these messages, the President of the United States giving message to the Greek people, message to the Greek Americans, a telephone call to the Greek Prime Minister, then Secretary Blinken, so many state houses issued proclamations. Of course, the Congress, the Senate issued a proclamation, which was, of course, adopted unanimously, but it was co-signed, co-sponsored by 52 senators, which is a record. And of course bipartisan. So it was very touching, and I thought, very deeply, why is this? And I realized that there are two main issues that contribute to this wide celebration across the United States and across the world, but now we're talking about the US. The number one is the values and ideals. Greek Revolution was about values. It was about freedom. It was about decency and self-respect. And the number two is the presence of the Greek American community that transmitted these ideals. They are the live embodiment of these ideals and have contributed so much to American society in making these ideals part of American life that, this tribute is to Greece and the Greek Americans. So it was twofold. I heard before, I was listening to Congressman Sarbanes talking about the 200th anniversary of the 1812 war. My first contact with the United States in real terms, not through books, was in 1976. And that was your 200th anniversary. And I remember how proud the Americans were and the celebrations and everything. And my husband was from Philadelphia, so there was this big celebration, Independence Mall and everything. And now comparing the 200th anniversary of Greek independence, I'm sure you understand, all of you who have lived in 1976 through those celebrations, the feeling of pride, and also the feeling of reinventing yourself. That is, this is a celebration, of course, honoring all those who died, gave their lives, and gave their fortune, their family members, everything in the cause of freedom. But also it's time of reflection, assessment, and revisiting the values, the commitment. And it's a way to say thank you to the Greeks outside Greece, but also to the Philhellenes. We should never underestimate the power and the contribution of the Philhellenes. The US had plenty of them, and this movement of Philhellenism was not only confined to 1821 and the years of the Greek Revolution. It comes all the way to today's world. And when I heard two other members of Congress speaking about how they feel about Greece and how their values and their lives identify with the Greek values and principles. And I think this is the power of Hellenism. It's something, it's an idea that is not confined only to the geographical borders of a country, of a state. This state is just the springboard for these values and ideals to go around the world and guide our lives no matter where we live. So today I have to thank you, of course, you and the American Hellenic Institute, because when I spoke about the power of the Greek American community, you represent the Greek American community and the work you have done in spreading these values and ideals and working for the causes of Hellenism is formidable, and we're grateful for that. Of course, I would like to thank Representatives Gus Bilirakis and Carolyn Maloney for being the co-chairs of the Congressional Hellenic Caucus, and we're very grateful for all the work they do in order to promote Hellenic causes. Congress has always played a pivotal role in this regard. Us coming from the world's oldest democracy, we understand the power of the House of Representatives, Senate or House of Representatives. It's a representative democracy. People speak through their representatives. So the representatives have a very strong role to play in this regard, and American Congress plays it, and we're grateful for that. And also, I would like to thank all the people who participate in today's event. Greece is, I always felt that Greece is something much bigger than a country. And I repeat that all the time. Greece is what you believe, its principles, cultures, and values. Thank you so much. Χρόνια πολλά. Ζήτω η δημοκρατία και η ελευθερία.
That's the Galam, Madam Ambassador, and as always, you capture very eloquently the essence of the moment in your message. I thank you all for always availing yourself to our events and the support of the American Hellenic Institute. It's about values, it's about principles, it's about ideas, and these are the concepts that we continue to promote within the context of promoting the U.S.-Greek relationship. And Philhellenes is an important component to that. It was important then, it continues to be important now, and will continue to be important in the future. And as you say, yes, Greece is a way of life. It's a way of idea. It's a way of thinking, and it's one of the best brands in the world, as far as I'm concerned. So Greece continues to have to put that brand name right up there, and we continue to promote it to the best of our abilities between the two countries of Greece and the United States that we live in. But there's another very important country that is Hellene in nature. Its roots are traced to the Hellenic world, and that is, of course, the country of Cyprus, and is so ably represented here by Ambassador Lysiotis, who's been here now a little over 2 years, and he's unfortunately had a little bit of a challenge with the COVID, but he's done exceptionally well, as of course Ambassador Papadopoulou has. But he's done a tremendous job in promoting his country's interest here, which are many. The challenges are many, and unfortunately, that same enemy, let's use the word, that Greece had a fight for and get its freedom over 200 years ago, is unfortunately the ancestors of those people who still today occupy the country of Cyprus and continues to prevent it from being whole, free, and at peace. And we look for the day where that will ultimately happen. But for that is a different day. Today we celebrate Greek Independence Day, and it's a pleasure to have with us Ambassador Lysiotis for his comments to help us celebrate today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Laringakis, Mr. President of the American Hellenic Institute, which since its inception has put the national issues at the forefront of its activity. It's a pleasure to join my Greek colleague, Ambassador Papadopoulou, and the members of Congress in this commemoration of the 200th anniversary of the Greek Revolution. The Renaissance of Hellenism was a long process. It was inspired by a reconnection with the classical Greek tradition and its values, the principles which also inspired, as it was indicated by Congressman Sarbanes, and shaped also the American Revolution. It was also nourished, as Congressman Bilirakis said, by the Christian Orthodox faith, which formed, as it does now, an integral part of the Hellenic identity. The Greek War of Independence, with its message of freedom, self-determination, the dignity of man and his inalienable rights, inspired the European peoples and set the pace for a long process that transformed Europe itself. We shouldn't underestimate the message of the Greek Revolution coming at the time it was coming, when the peoples of Europe were under the great empires of the era, to those people. Philhellenism and love of freedom became one and the same, and they still are one and the same. Well, allow me to say a few words about the Cypriots, who also participated actively both in the long gestation of modern Hellenism. Let's not forget that one of the companions of Rigas Phareos, who was executed with him, was of Cypriot origin, and in the actual struggle for freedom. More than 1,000 Cypriots fought in the War of Greek Independence, while others contributed with every means at their disposal to the success of this endeavor. The whole church hierarchy of Cyprus, the Archbishop and the 4 metropolitans, and almost 500 prominent Cypriots were preventively executed in July 1821. It was, I believe, this unity and mobilization of the Hellenes wherever they found themselves, be it in Odessa, Cyprus, Amsterdam, Marseille, Kidonias, wherever, in the old and the new words that contributed to the success of this endeavor. So let us preserve this lesson as relevant now as it was crucial then. So with these words, I would like to thank you again for this invitation, and thank you for your cooperation. We spent 2.5 hours last week together discussing with Mr. Laringakis. And thank you, and thanks also to all members of Congress who are moving forward this crucial, moving forward the agenda of the Greek and the Cypriot relationship with the United States, which we believe it's a win-win relationship. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. And you know how much I like Cypriot coffee. So, you know, that's why 2.5 hours is only kidding, of course. We had a great discussion, and I look forward to many more as we continue to work together on the issues that are very important to the bilateral relationship of the United States and Cyprus. So without any further ado, now we will go to this young lady from that great state of Nevada, where Greeks do not like to go and gamble. But I want you to know, Dina, my daughter and her fiance were just there a couple of weeks ago, so they contributed to the economy. It's always a pleasure to see Dina Titus and to welcome her to another AHI event. And as always, he's always available every year when we celebrate Congressional Salute to Greek Independence. So we welcome you, Dina, to our program today, and look forward to your comments.
Well, excuse me. Thank you so much, Nick. And thank you for bringing us together like this to celebrate Greek independence. You are always so good at keeping us informed and advocating for our Hellenic issues, and I certainly appreciate it. And it's so nice to see both of our ambassadors here. I visited with both of them recently, but it's nice to see. I'm just sorry it's not in person. But now tell your daughter very much, thank you for coming and helping the economy. It's coming back. So hopefully next year y'all can come out and have another big meeting in Las Vegas, because we always enjoy having you. I just mostly wanted to say hello and happy independence, and just remind you of how much I enjoy working on these issues, how close to my heart, of course, they are. And if you need anything, please don't hesitate to come to me. Not only am I part of the Greek caucus and the Greek Israel caucus, but also I serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee and on the subcommittee for Europe. So in that role, I'll be able to be a voice for our issues, and I certainly welcome that opportunity. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had a chance to talk to Secretary of State Blinken and mention the issues in that part of the world and the role that Greece and Cyprus can play. And I got a very good response from him. He sees that importance of that too, wants to strengthen those bonds, work on those issues. So I found that very encouraging. And it's so nice to have a president now who wants to be engaged, doesn't see everything as transactional, and it has many ties to Greece and Cyprus, and they joke about calling them Bidenopolis. So I think that's a good sign for us. So just know that you can always count on me here or in Nevada. Nick has my cell number. He can call me anytime. And I welcome hearing from the ambassadors. I welcome your wise counsel. And so I look forward to when we can once again meet together, drink some of that coffee, have a little to eat. That always makes people more amenable to politics. So thank you very much for having me, Nick. Call on me anytime.
Thank you, Dina. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Wish you continued good success, and we look forward to continuing to working with you and your fine staff. Wishing you all the best. As we continue with our program, we have a number of pre-recorded video messages as well as part of our program today. We're going to conclude, so everyone knows, with a video message that's been generally distributed, to the diaspora by the Prime Minister of Greece, Mitsotakis. We will conclude with that at the end. But now we have a very important video message from our own Archbishop, His Eminence Archbishop Elpidophoros, which was not able to be with us live, but was gracious to send us a video message for this occasion. So Emily, my producer, will shortly engage the video, and there it is.
Dear friends of the American Hellenic Institute, honorable co-workers for justice and peace of the Congressional Hellenic Caucus, my fellow Greek Americans and Philhellenes, I am both honored and delighted to join you for this most significant recognition of the bicentennial of the Greek Revolution, a congressional salute to the Greek Independence Day. Truly, the Congress of the United States is a perfect partner for this celebration, for the same values of liberty and self-determination inspired both the revolutionaries of 1776 and 1821. It is no accident that the world's most successful democracy, America, and the world's first democracy, Greece, should link forever the Greek American and Philhellene communities. The American Hellenic Institute, whose legendary founder, Eugene Rosidis, passed from this life to the next less than 1 year ago, has not only been a strong advocate for all matters Hellenic, but an important voice in American cultural and political spheres of influence. American Hellenic Institute's leadership in the diaspora and partnership with the Congressional Hellenic Caucus are vital for the causes that we all hold so dear. And it is these very causes, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, for which the American patriots of 1776 and the immortal heroes of 1821 sacrificed both life and livelihood. And we must not forget those American Philhellenes who joined in the fight of 1821 and traveled to faraway Greece to honor the birthplace of democracy. Whether the birthday is the 4th of July or March 25th, all Americans and all Hellenes are like twin souls inhabiting the same body politic of democratic values, steeped in the sacrifice of earlier generations. Our commitment to the rights of every human person and freedom of conscience are non-negotiable. That is why through the last 2 centuries, Greece and America have been such unequivocal allies. Greece is the historic wellspring of democratic values and of the values of the Western civilization. It was Greece that took the message of the Jewish rabbi, Jesus of Nazareth, and brought it to the world through its language and through its philosophical infrastructure, and gave expression to the mystery of the Christian gospel. These 2 currents have been flowing for well over 2,000 years. Even the occupation of Greece in the centuries leading to her emancipation could not impede this mighty cascade of faith, of culture, and of ethical values. We are truly blessed as Americans and Greeks and Philhellenes to be the inheritors of such a wealth of heart, soul, and mind. Therefore, with abundant gratitude to the American Hellenic Institute and to the Congressional Hellenic Caucus, and to all who honor the struggle for liberty wherever they may be, I commend this occasion today. I congratulate you all for your dedication to democracy and the never-ending contest to preserve the good estate of our republics. We give thanks to Almighty God, who has blessed us with the free lands of America, of Greece, and Cyprus. May we ever defend them with bravery and fortitude. worthy of the blessings of liberty. May we also be always happy to share them with all who yearn for freedom, just as the immortal heroes and patriots did in 1776 and in 1821. May God bless the United States of America, the Hellenic Republic, and the Republic of Cyprus. Thank you.
We thank so much His Eminence for taking the time to send that inspiring message and wish him, of course, all the best. We do now have two more members of Congress with us. Now, technically, my internal rule is to put them on as they appear. Although Chris Pappas came on first, his screen is dark, but there he is. So, Congressman Boyle, you will forgive me. You will yield to him first, and then I'll put you on right after. So, Chris, it's a pleasure to see you, to welcome you once again to American Hellenic Institute presentation, and thank you for coming today and being part of our commemoration for 200 years of Greek independence. So we look forward to your comments.
Well, Nick, thanks very much. And it's great to be with you. Great to hear remarks from His Eminence, from Madam Ambassador, Mr. Ambassador, and the American Hellenic Institute community. I want to thank you for putting together this event. Obviously, we would much prefer to be together. The Greek American community is boisterous. We enjoy celebrating on March 25th with parades and celebrations. And I know we will return to that in the near future when it's safe to do so. But I'm glad that we can, along with my colleagues in Congress, commemorate the 200th anniversary of Greek Independence Day. And I want to thank Chairwoman Maloney, Congressman Bilirakis, Chairman Menendez, and my colleagues in the House who are part of our Hellenic Caucus. I think this is an important moment for Greek-American relations, and I do hope that we can continue to go about our work of deepening that relationship at a critical juncture in our history. So I think it's really critical that we celebrate this anniversary. You heard remarks earlier about how the spirit of Greece that influenced the founding of America and our own fight for independence in 1776 was the same spirit that also reverberated to Greece 45 years later as our Greek friends shook off centuries of Ottoman rule. Over the last couple hundred years, the United States and Greece have continued to share our commitment to democratic institutions and to celebrate the right of free people to chart our own destiny. Our history and our values have been intertwined ever since. And as I mentioned, I think we are at a crucial juncture with recent developments in Europe, in the Middle East, and certainly in the Eastern Mediterranean. And it's time to strengthen the Greek-American bond and to double down on our partnership. So I really look forward to working with my colleagues in the House and Senate, with our partners in the Biden administration to achieve this. And I certainly hope that once we can all get back together in person, we'll be gathering, we'll be sharing thoughts. But it's great to see you virtually and to gather together in this format to celebrate what is such an historic milestone for Greece, and a reminder of our shared values, our shared commitment, in our vital and enduring partnership for the future. So Nick, thanks very much, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Chris, thank you very much for your eloquent message. And as you pointed out, the Eastern Mediterranean still needs to be looked at very carefully. Things are not always what they appear. And we'll be looking for you and others and friends on Capitol Hill to continue to expand and to strengthen the relationship between the United States and Greece and Cyprus as it relates to our best interests and that of the United States. And I want to congratulate you on your work that you continue to do for veterans issues, which are very important as well. So thank you once again for being with us. And now we turn our attention to, I think, a first timer to one of our American Hellenic Institute events, Congressman Brendan Boyle from Pennsylvania. And we welcome you here and we thank you for helping us come in to commemorate Greek independence. But my question to you is, are you a Philadelphia sports fan or a Pittsburgh sports fan? Careful what you say, because I'm a Philadelphia sports fan. Just kidding.
Thank you, Nick, and thanks to the Institute. Let me be clear. I guess the camera can't capture it, off I will answer that question by, well, I guess you can't see it. I have a big Philadelphia Eagles hat from our
All right.
Super Bowl championship of a couple years ago. So next meeting, I will wear that. I didn't know I was with a fellow Philadelphia sports fan. So no, I would not be elected in my district if I was anything but a Philly sports fan. I want to thank you, Nick, my friend Christine Warnke, and others, including the number of Greek Americans who have worked for me during my time here on Capitol Hill, including my first ever legislative director, Helena Mastroiannis, who is still very close to me and my team. So I'm glad to have the opportunity to be able to join you and celebrate a huge anniversary, the bicentennial of modern Greek independence, throwing off centuries of Ottoman rule. We would not have American democracy if it weren't for the achievements of the great Greek thinkers and philosophers of millennia ago. I'm reminded about that every day when I'm in the Capitol, when I only look up and see the Greek-inspired architecture, which is all over the Capitol. It was very important when our founding fathers set up our country almost a quarter of a millennium ago. And by the way, when we have the American 250th celebration centered in Philadelphia in 5 years, you're already invited now to join us, 4th of July, 2026. We're already starting to prepare for it. But being a Philadelphian and getting prepared for our nationwide 250th birthday in a few years, going back and reading so many of what the writings of our founders, and it was so clear the way Greek democracy and later the Roman Republic inspired their view of what the United States of America could become. So there is that direct link from ancient Greece to us here in the United States here today. But of course, Greece did not stop millennia ago, and the modern Greek Republic is now celebrating, as I mentioned, its 200th anniversary. We enjoy a very close relationship between the US and Greece. I'm an active supporter of that. I am also, as an ethnic American myself, very proud of the contribution that so many Greek Americans have made to my hometown of Philadelphia, and of course, that have made to the United States of America. So I wish we were celebrating in person. Hopefully next year we'll be able to have two celebrations, for the price of one when we get together to celebrate the 201st anniversary of Greek independence. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Congressman. Of course, what more definitive Greek city in America than Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, definition in Greek. Just so you can see behind me here, the landscape portrait behind the AHI logo. You're not going to see it very well, but trust me, it is the 2008 World Series championship Phillies on the screen.
Wait 1 second, Nick. Now that you did that, I apologize. Everyone else has to indulge.
There you go. There you go. Let's see what happens this year. But you are not. You look. I didn't look at your birthday, but you just look very young. I was around for 1976 for the 200 year, and I lived, of course, in South Jersey. And as a 16-year-old, what I was most excited about was every professional sports all-star game was played in Philadelphia that year in honor of the Bicentennial. A real pleasure, and thank you for mentioning also Christine Warnke, who is also a good friend, a longtime supporter and member of the American Hellenic Institute, and we should take note that she was also recently honored by the DC City Council for all her work regarding the Greek American community. So we wish her well, and we thank you once again for joining us today.
Well
go
said.
Phillies, go Eagles, go Flyers and Sixers.
Yeah.
Okay, now, as I said earlier, we also have a number of other video messages, and until such time as another one of our live guests comes on, we will go ahead and begin with some of those. And if I can ask our producer to go ahead with the message by Senator Bob Menendez. Senator Bob Menendez, of course, the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and somebody who has been extraordinary, instrumental in the promotion and strengthening of the U.S.-Greece, U.S.-Cyprus relations. No one has kept the issues more in the forefront of American policymakers in the Congress than Senator Bob Menendez.
Thank you to the American Hellenic Institute for inviting me to speak at your Salute to Greek Independence Day event. I'm deeply grateful for AHI's work to build U.S.-Greece bonds, and I have been honored to partner with you in helping make the U.S.-Greece relationship the strongest it has ever been. I'm delighted to join AHI and the Hellenic community in New Jersey and beyond in celebrating the historic 200th anniversary of Greece's independence. Since ancient times, Greece has made invaluable contributions to the world, including developing the ideals of democracy and rule of law that inspired our founding fathers to establish our American system of government. These ideals continue to inspire the American people and people around the world to this day. Just as the ideals first developed by the Greek people supported the American struggle for their independence, the American people supported their brethren in Greece during Greece's struggle for independence. American Philhellene committees, groups comprised of ordinary Americans, were formed to support the Greek fight for freedom through fundraising and providing humanitarian assistance. Numerous American Philhellenes, including future abolitionist Dr. Samuel Gridley Howe, future abolitionist Jonathan Peckham Miller, and George Jarvis, traveled to Greece to directly support the Greek people as soldiers, doctors, and more. This long history of U.S.-Greek ties has laid the groundwork for our relationship today, which is the strongest it has ever been. Greece is a truly reliable partner to the United States as a fellow democracy, as a NATO member, as an EU member, and in promoting peace and stability in the Balkans and the Eastern Mediterranean region. Last month, the Senate Foreign Relations Committee unanimously approved a resolution congratulating Greece on the 200th anniversary of its independence. The following day, on Greece's independence anniversary, the full Senate unanimously passed the resolution as well. With the passage of this resolution every year, Congress, and through us the American people, send a clear message of support for the Greek people and for our country's enduring partnership. Greece's 200th independence anniversary is an incredible opportunity not only to look back on our country's long friendship, but also to look forward to building on that history and strengthening our partnership for generations to come. In the years ahead, you have my commitment to work with the people of Greece and the Greek-American community to make the vision of an even stronger U.S.-Greece relationship a reality. Thank you.
We thank Senator Bob Menendez for taking the time to send us his video message for today. Continuing with our video message, I'd like to now present the message of the Congressional co-chair, Carolyn Maloney, who again was the original co-founder of the Hellenic Caucus, along with Congressman Mike Bilirakis many years ago. Someone who needs no introduction regarding her work regarding the issues affecting the Eastern Mediterranean. She apologized for not being able to be here today, but since she's the chairman of a very important committee, she has responsibilities regarding her committee and could not be with us. So we now like to offer her message via video.
Thank you to my good friend Nick Larigakis and everyone at the American Hellenic Institute for putting this great event together despite the pandemic. I'm absolutely thrilled to join all of you in celebrating the bicentennial of Greece's independence. I'm grateful for the work we've done together and for the unique initiatives AHI spearheads on behalf of the millions of Greek Americans in the district I'm privileged to represent and across the country. I have the unique privilege of representing one of the largest Greek American communities in the United States in Astoria, Queens. and I'm blessed to call many of you my close friends. And I am honored to serve as the co-chair and co-founder of the 110-member Bipartisan Congressional Caucus on Hellenic Issues, ensuring that the Hellenic community is heard in the halls of Congress. I am very humbled that my friends in the Hellenic community have given me the nickname Bouboulina, after the great Bouboulina, one of the warriors of the Greek War of Independence, and whose home I had the privilege of visiting in 2016. As the birthplace of democracy, Greece was an inspiration for the U.S. system of government. And just as Greece inspired our country, the American Revolution helped inspire the Greeks to revolt against the Ottoman Empire. So it should come as no surprise that when the Greek War of Independence started, American Philhellenes and Greek American communities in the U.S. not only voiced their support for the cause, but actively supported their campaign. It may be safe to say that without the moral, intellectual, political, monetary, and in-kind assistance of these Americans, the outcome of the war could have been different. Some of these prominent American Philhellenes included President James Monroe, Secretary of State John Quincy Adams, Daniel Webster, and Henry Clay. Most notably, many of these American Philhellenes included future leaders of the women's suffrage and abolitionist movements, such as abolitionist and women's suffrage movement leader Julia Rush Ward Howe, abolitionist and Underground Railroad supporter Sarah Arms Miller, and Emmett Willard, founder of the Troy Society for the Advancement of Female Education in Greece, and one of the most outspoken advocates for women's education. That is why I was proud to introduce, along with my friend and Hellenic Caucus co-chair, Congressman Gus Bilirakis, Congressional Resolution H.R. 254, calling for the United Kingdom to return the Parthenon marbles to Greece. And I urge all those listening to tell your member of Congress to co-sponsor this important resolution. Whether or not it passes depends largely on how many members we get to sign on. Our art and architecture, our rhetoric, and our philosophy all owe much to the influence of Grecian culture. So when there is already a long-standing debt of such great value, one we can never fully repay, it seems that the very least we could do is return to the Greek people something of great value that is rightfully theirs to begin with, the great collection of classical Greek sculptures known as the Parthenon marbles. They were originally sculpted by the Greek citizens and meant to be displayed in the Greek Parthenon and other buildings of the Acropolis. The Greek Parthenon is one of the greatest cultural monuments in the history of the world, and the world deserves the chance to see it as it once stood, complete with the marbles. I know it may be painful for the British Museum to part with the marbles. After all, they've been on display in London for nearly 2 centuries now. But compare that loss to the great sense of loss that haunts the Greek people. They have been deprived of a breathtaking national treasure that was central to their culture and that was created solely by Greeks for Greeks 2,500 years ago. As we celebrate Greece's independence, we cannot forget that its fight to reclaim the Parthenon marbles and erase this reminder of the imperialist past continues to this day. It is in that spirit and in honor of the Greeks who fought for their independence that we continue to advocate for the return of the Parthenon marbles to Greece, their rightful home. Their return would signify a final end to the generations of oppression Greece and her people endured. As we celebrate the bicentennial of Greece's independence, we also celebrate the historic friendship between the United States and Greece, drawing inspiration from our shared commitment to democratic values. We continue to work together on issues of critical importance. including prohibiting the sale of F-35s to Turkey and working towards a unified Cyprus. I'm particularly proud to work with the American Hellenic Institute and the Greek community on my congressional resolution to call on Turkey to end its campaign of religious discrimination against the ecumenical patriarch, a resolution that will need your members and support as well to pass. And now with 2 American Philhellenes in the White House, I believe we will be able to pass this and the Parthenon marbles resolutions. As you know, President Biden and Vice President Harris have long been friends of the Hellenic community throughout their careers in public service, and I look forward to working with them to pass these resolutions and other legislation important to the Hellenic Caucus and the Hellenic community. Again, I am so proud of the work we've done together and thrilled to be able to join with you as we celebrate this momentous occasion. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you, Carolyn. And as you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, Carolyn is involved in a myriad of issues as they relate to the Greek American community and some of the outstanding issues that involve the Eastern Mediterranean and including, of course, the Parthenon marbles, but very importantly also the plight of the ecumenical patriarchate in Constantinople or Istanbul. And we look forward to working with her on moving forward some of these resolutions in this Congress with our friends on Capitol Hill. And now to continue with our another message today is Senator Chris Coons. Senator Chris Coons is a dynamic member of the U.S. Senate, very well versed on issues of the Eastern Mediterranean, sits on the Foreign Relations Committee, and we like to do a shout out and thank you to the members of the Greek American community of Delaware, all AHI members, including our board of director, Dimitri Halakos, the aforementioned earlier, Jim Maravelas, and one other person who just recently won an election to the State Assembly of Delaware, Spiros Mazovinas, who's a very close personal friend of Senator Coons. So with that, we will present Senator Coons' video message.
Heratismata. I am U.S. Senator Chris Coons, and welcome to the celebration by the American Hellenic Institute of the 200th anniversary of the independence of Greece. The American Hellenic Institute has long worked to strengthen ties between the United States and Greece through advocacy, student exchanges, and other important initiatives. As a member of the Foreign Relations Committee, I'm proud to support Greece through supporting appropriations for Greece's development and independence and military strength, and through legislation like the Eastern Mediterranean Security and Energy Partnership Act. I was pleased to discuss all of this in more detail recently with Prime Minister Mitsotakis when he came to visit Washington in 2020. So congratulations to the Hellenic American organizations that support this special relationship and the millions of Greeks and Greek Americans around the world. As we all know, Greece is an amazing nation, full of creativity and vibrancy, and with a remarkable history that laid the foundation of the modern Western world. I suggest to all of you that we celebrate a successful and wonderful day of the 200th anniversary of Greek independence.
We thank Senator Coons very much for that message as we continue to work with him and his fine staff on some issues that will be forthcoming in the next few months. And now, so we go to a live person. We have a message that was submitted to us in writing by Congresswoman Barbara Lee from California. And I will ask our legislative director, Elias Gerasoulis, to read that message. And just let me also point out that Elias is as I said, our director of legislative affairs and is doing a tremendous job in the outreach on Capitol Hill and was very pivotal in reaching out to a lot of the offices that you see here today represented and engaging them to be part of our discussions today. And it's just doing a remarkable work on Capitol Hill for us. And I just cannot say enough good things about Elias Gerasoulis and the good work that he's doing. So Elias, I give you the floor to read Congresswoman Lee's message.
Thank you very kindly, Nick. So I'm going to read a message from Congresswoman Barbara Lee, which she kindly submitted to the American Hellenic Institute upon learning of today's commemoration. So her message reads as follows. I am proud to join my colleagues in commemorating the 200th anniversary of Greece's independence from the Ottoman Empire and to celebrate the shared democratic values of Greece and the United States. 200 years ago, the people of Greece declared their independence inspired by the ideals of liberty, justice, and self-governance. Greek principles guided our founders through the American Revolution, and half a century later also guided Greek revolutionaries as they fought for independence. Today, we join the Greek people in commemorating the modern Greek state and to recommit to strengthening the alliance between our two nations. Greece's bicentennial is an opportunity to celebrate the enduring friendship of our countries and to continue our work to promote peace and stability in the region. It is also a chance to recognize the immense contributions of the 3 million Americans of Greek descent living in the United States. I've had the privilege to visit and spend time in Greece and know personally the spirit and generosity of the Greek people. I would also like to acknowledge a great Greek American, the late California State Senator Nicholas Petras, whose seat I held in the California State Senate upon his retirement. He was a mentor to me, and I valued his friendship. As chair of the House Appropriations Subcommittee on State and Foreign Operations, I will continue to look for opportunities to strengthen the alliance between Greece and the United States. I am proud to join in the commemoration of Greek independence and the recognition of the contributions of Greece and Greek Americans that have been made across our country. Together, we will continue to work to uphold our shared values and overcome today's challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Elias, and we certainly thank Barbara Lee for taking the time to submit that statement to commemorate the Greek Independence Day 200-year anniversary today. And with that, we will now go back to some more video messages. And we have Senator Gary Peters, who sent in a message. He is from the state of Michigan. Emily, if we can please put up the message.
Hello, I'm Senator Gary Peters, and I'm thrilled to join you today to celebrate Greek Independence Day. Much like our country's beginnings, Greece won its independence against great odds and in pursuit of freedom from tyranny. The United States and Greece have a long shared bond, forged by our deep-rooted values in democracy and in justice. But it was Greek institutions and ideas that laid the foundations for democracy all across the world and ultimately gave birth to the American experiment. Some of our most fundamental principles, such as the right to trial by jury and freedom of speech, were inspired by Greece and continue to serve as the guardrails for our democratic republic. Today, we feel these contributions in our everyday lives in communities all across the United States. In the city of Detroit, for example, generations of Greek Americans have created a vibrant community and culture that people across the state travel to experience. This year, as we commemorate the 200th anniversary of Greek independence, let's celebrate the Hellenic spirit and continued partnership between our two great nations. Thank you and enjoy the celebration.
We thank Senator Peters for taking the time to send in the message, and we look forward to continuously working with his office on still many outstanding issues. I've noticed now that we do have a member of Congress that has joined us. If he's with us, I see he's connected, and that's Congressman Josh Gottheimer from New Jersey. Congressman, are you with us? I guess they've connected, but he may not be available yet. So what we will do is then continue with another video message from Congresswoman Grace Ming from New York.
Hi, I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng from Queens, New York. As a proud member of the Hellenic Caucus, I'm honored to share a few words with you to celebrate the 200th anniversary of Greek Independence Day. I want to thank the American Hellenic Institute for inviting me and recognize our distinguished guests. Today we celebrate the Greek people's struggle for independence and the historical tie between Greece and the United States. Over the last 200 years, Greece has transformed into a strong and dynamic nation and into an exceptional ally and friend of the United States. Regionally, Greece is promoting Balkan stability and diversification of energy supplies in Europe. Globally, Greece is a strong advocate of NATO and continues to work constructively in multilateral forums to achieve progress in transatlantic cooperation. Simply put, Greece's contributions to regional and global security are irreplaceable. America is so lucky to have a friend in Greece. As Vice Chair of the House Appropriations Subcommittee on State and Foreign Operations, I will continue to advocate for policies that strengthen this critical relationship. But the American Hellenic relationship isn't just about foreign policy. It's about the great friendships right here in America, too. Nationally, there are at least 3 million Americans of Greek descent, and I'm proud to represent so many Greek Americans in my home district of Queens. Here in our borough, you can see how the Greek community is a stalwart contributor to our local culture and our small business community. The impact is also deeply personal for my family too. When my family first immigrated to the U.S., the first family we met was a Greek American family. My parents worked a lot. I was primarily raised by my grandparents, but it was my Greek best friend's father who taught me how to first ride a bike. As I have continued to raise my family in Queens, my son's first friend in kindergarten was also a Greek American. I'm so grateful to the Greek American community in Queens for helping my family adjust to life in the U.S. To build on those fond memories, we have plenty of Greek Orthodox church festivals right here in our district, including my home neighborhood of Bayside, Queens, which is always guaranteed to be a fun-filled time with delicious food and great music. Thank you so much for your work in convening this virtual celebration and bringing together leaders to talk about the important policy issues regarding the American Hellenic relationship. I look forward to continuing to work together and to keep celebrating Greek culture. Thank you so much.
Our thanks to Congresswoman Ming for taking the time to send us the video and to help us celebrate today. Another very strong supporter regarding U.S.-Greek, U.S.-Cyprus relations. I come back to Congressman Josh Gottheimer, if he is now connected with us. Okay, we will continue with another video.
Hi, it's Josh.
Hey, there you are.
I realized that actually I was not unmuted, so I apologize.
Very good. Well, Congressman, it's good to have you here, and we thank you for coming and helping us celebrate the 200 years of Greek independence. And we welcome you and look forward to your comments today.
Well, it's always good to be here. I'm so sorry that we're not doing this in person like we usually do.
So am I.
It's more fun that way. But you know, next year we'll be together. I have a feeling. And I do want to thank AHI, and it's a privilege to join such dignitaries, including Archbishop, the ambassadors of Greece and Cyprus, the United States, and of course my colleagues as we commemorate the 200th anniversary of Greece's independence. As was mentioned, I'm Josh Gottheimer. I'm from northern New Jersey, home to a very, very large, proud Greek American community, as you all know. And if you haven't been to Jersey in a while, you should come visit. The food is unbelievable. The Greek food is the best we got to offer. So I want to put that out there. And in Congress, I am very proud to be active in the Bipartisan Congressional Hellenic Caucus and the Congressional Hellenic Israel Alliance. I am also proud to be a member, in fact, of the Bergen Knights chapter of AHDPA, the American Hellenic Fraternal Organization. I've got my pin. It is in Jersey, my pin. I realized I was searching all over it for this morning, so I'm sorry that I don't have it on. I was inducted though in 2018 by George and my dear friend. You all know Dr. Zenon. Everyone knows Zenon. So he inducted me, and I don't know if I see him on here. I can't see all the boxes, but if I hope Zenon showed up. If he didn't, we should give him some immediate grief after this call. So it's very special to join everyone. You know, this year, Greece's bicentennial is a special time to reflect on the remarkable, enduring relationship between the United States and Greece. Our two countries share a great deal of common interests and fundamental values, something that ties us all together. We know that the Eastern Mediterranean is not only the birthplace of democracy, it is a region of vital strategic importance to the United States and to allies like Cyprus and Greece and Israel, which are increasingly subject to hostility and competition from Russia, Syria, Iran, and of course, Turkey. That's why Congress and during my time in Congress, I've been so focused on this issue, and we've been proud to co-sponsor the Eastern Mediterranean Security and Energy Partnership Act, bipartisan legislation introduced by Ted Deutsch, my good friend in the House, and my other dear friend in the Senate, Bob Menendez, which expands military and security assistance for Greece and Cyprus and upgrades relationship between the United States and our key allies in the region. The growing strategic partnership between Greece, Israel, Cyprus, and the United States has been a tremendous boon, I think we'd all agree, to our interests in the region. But it must be guarded against the provocations of an increasingly emboldened and aggressive Turkey. You know, the bottom line is simple: whether in the Eastern Mediterranean or elsewhere, there's simply no substitute for a robust U.S. leadership and partnership in the world. It is only an increased U.S. presence that can be sure to keep Turkey's regional aggression in check or prevent the incursion of Russian ships off the coast of Syria. That's why the United States must continue to stand by our allies in the region like Greece and Cyprus and continue to strengthen and enhance our ties. I just want to thank everyone for having me. It's a privilege to join AHI's Congressional Salute to Greek Independence this year as we commemorate the bicentennial. Thank you all for being such strong leaders for the Greek American community as well. I'm very, very proud to stand with each and every one of you in support of our shared values. And I look forward to the next time, as I said earlier, that we can get together, but in person. If you want to come see me in Jersey, door is very open. Or of course, if you get to Washington, I'd love to see you too. But I hope you're all safe and healthy. God bless you and your families and our great country. Thank you so much.
Congressman, thank you. And as somebody who grew up in New Jersey and worked in Greek diners, I can absolutely agree with you that not only is the Greek food good, very good, but also the popular food of the American culture exceptionally good as well.
We do have the greatest diners in America in Jersey. I just want to, as you know.
Without a doubt. But Congressman, with all seriousness, thank you for bringing up the issues of the Eastern Mediterranean. And you're spot on regarding calling out those who are being provocative in the region. For whatever reason, sometimes some of our other policymakers don't want to call out Turkey for being the provocateur and try to keep things in an even balance. So I'm very pleased that you did that. The interests in the Eastern Mediterranean are not parochial. They do not involve just Greece and Cyprus. They involve at the core U.S. geostrategic interests and the projection of those interests. And that means those peace and stability has to reign. And those who support peace and stability have to be congratulated and worked with. And those who are not need to be openly called out and try to bring into the fold, especially when they hide under the banner of a NATO ally, and of which our own Secretary of State, and I quote, when he said in his confirmation hearings, Turkey may be an ally, but they do not act as an ally, end quote, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. And Zenon, well, just so you know, you would not see Zenon on here because the only people you would see on the screen are those who are active in terms of the participation of the program. Those who view it do not appear on the screen. So I'm sure Zenon is watching, and if he won't, I'll make sure to send him the video personally. So,
thanks, Nick. And by the way, you know that in Jersey, because you've been there and lived there, look, we call this, if we see an issue, we call it out. You know, and so I don't think any of us should be shy about it. I think the only way you're going to address and fix these issues is if you do call them out. And
absolutely.
Right? And so I think it's really important. I'll continue to do so. So thank you very much for having me as ever.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wish you all the best. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Take care.
And now we have another video message from Congressman Michael Waltz from Florida. Emily, if we can cue that up, please.
And it is my absolute pleasure to say Happy Independence Day. Obviously Greece is a cradle of democracy, but I have to tell you, just very personal to me, as a Green Beret, we specialize in unconventional warfare and actually training and operating with freedom fighters all over the world. And one of the things that I grew up with as a student of history and then in my training was studying the Greek resistance in World War II. One of the most amazing feats of resistance in modern military history, tied down literally hundreds of thousands of Germans, Italians, and Bulgarians, I think I remember as well, with just a relatively small bunch of dedicated, freedom-loving, determined, and very tough Greek partisans. So that is something that I've always been really amazed at in my studies and my training. But aside from that, going forward, America is going to be absolutely reliant on our alliances. And when it comes to the Eastern Mediterranean, when it comes to the influence of Russia, the very quiet, pernicious influence of the Chinese Communist Party, right on the doorstep of the Middle East, we're going to continue to have to work hand in glove with our Greek partners. And of course, back here at home, aside from the amazing food, which I love, but Greek Americans just continue to knock it out of the park and thrive in business and politics and civil society, and just such a vibrant part of this melting pot of freedom and liberty that we all love. So again, I wish I could be with you. Look forward to being with you in person. But happy Independence Day, and God bless to all of you. And I certainly salute you.
We thank Congressman Waltz for those fine comments. And now I see on my screen and on cue, she said 11:30, and by golly, it's 11:30 on the dot. And it is truly a pleasure to welcome for the first time to an AHI sponsored event, and that's the newest member of the Greek American community on Capitol Hill from New York, Representative Nicole Malliotakis. Nicole, it's good to see you, and congratulations on your victory. Congratulations in Congress, and we look forward to working with you for many years to come on the outstanding issues that we all advocate for. And we welcome you here today to help us commemorate the 200 years of Greek Independence Day and our congressional salute of it. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nick. It is fantastic to join you and everyone that is on the call to commemorate 200th anniversary of Greek independence. And as a Greek American myself, it is such an honor to be here for this celebration, but to also recognize the many achievements of the Greek Americans who have contributed so much to our nation. When you look at history and whether it's from a science or mathematics or astronomy standpoint, from a medicine philanthropy, look at what our own Dr. Boyle from Pfizer was able to achieve with the vaccination in record time. We have so much to be proud of, and this is just fantastic to join all of you to celebrate this. I would like to just briefly introduce myself to those who are not familiar with me. Nicole Malliotakis, representing New York's 11th Congressional District, and that is Staten Island and Southern Brooklyn. I'm very, very fortunate to sit as a freshman on the Transportation Infrastructure Committee as well as the Foreign Affairs Committee. I had really advocated for both these committees, in Foreign Affairs in particular, which is obviously a great importance to the membership of AHI. I am also a ranking member on a subcommittee which deals with U.S. Involvement and membership in international organizations like the UN Human Rights Council, like NATO, like WHO. And we also talk about foreign aid. We talk about challenges some of the companies are facing doing business overseas. And so I think this is a fantastic opportunity for me to advocate for the issues that we believe in. And as we celebrate Greek independence, we also need to remember our friends in Cyprus and the illegal occupation by the Turkish government of communities, and the fact that there are so many refugees living here in the United States who were forced to flee Cyprus. And we want to make sure that this is an issue that is at the forefront of the discussions in the Foreign Affairs Committee, that along with the Turkish aggression in the Aegean and Mediterranean, and making sure that we are very supportive of our ally Greece and Cyprus in this quest. And so those are the things that I've already been bringing up to the forefront. As a new member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, a couple of weeks ago, we had the opportunity to sit with Secretary Blinken and share these concerns. And I was very delighted to hear that he actually shares our views and our concerns, and that he expects the American government to play a forceful role in this. And I think that is incredibly important to advance this conversation as we advocate to protect our friends in the Republic of Cyprus and in Greece. In addition to that, I was very fortunate. I don't know if he was also on the call, but Chairman Meeks and I had a fantastic discussion. He is the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, and he also shares my concerns and our concerns about Turkish aggression. And so I think we have a great group of bipartisan supporters on the issues that matter to the Greek community. And I'm glad to be a part of that voice, and also sit on the Europe subcommittee. So I look forward to working with all of you. But for today, it's a day of celebration and recognition of the bicentennial of Greek independence and all that the Greeks have brought to the United States of America, including our democratic republic and the model of the government that we utilize today. So thank you for having me, and Zito Yelas, and I appreciate the opportunity. Look forward to working closely with all of you.
Nicole, thank you very much. And as you say, you are on some very important committees that are critical to the issues that we advocate for. But as I said earlier, and it's worth repeating, the issues are not parochial that involve just the countries of the region, but at the core involve U.S. geostrategic interests and the rule of law in the Eastern Mediterranean and the projection of our U.S. interests. And it is important to call out countries who are not playing their role as a so-called NATO ally, and who is being provocative, and Turkey certainly is. And I'm pleased that you've shared these with the Chairman Meeks, and we look forward to working with you to continue, reaching out to other members of Congress that you have a rapport with, and trying to move some of these issues forward. So we congratulate you once again on your election, and we look forward to working with you. And we're always here to help and to be as a resource or any other way that we can be of assistance to you. But we certainly thank you for coming out today and helping us celebrate the 200-year anniversary of Greek Independence Day. And what I should have said is, because we have another 10 minutes before the last person, I'm going to have you speak for another 10 minutes.
Well, I didn't want to take up too much time, but if anyone has questions, happy to answer it to kill some time if you need.
I'm just amazed that we're actually way before, we're not only on schedule, but way ahead of schedule actually. But no, seriously, thank you. We don't want to take any more of your time. We know how busy you are, but I do thank you very much again, and we look forward to it. And you're going to have your hands full as this infrastructure bill certainly comes to you, for discussion down the pike here. So good luck again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, we have another 20 minutes set aside for our program. And we do have one more speaker who's going to come on live, and that's Senator Van Hollen. And he is scheduled to come on about 10 of 12. So we will obviously wait for the senator, and then we will also have the closing video of the Prime Minister of Greece. But maybe I can ad lib here a little bit and see if, I think Anastasia Zannis is still on from Athens, if she can hear me. Anastasia, are you still there? I guess she may not be available. So to our audience, what we're going to do at this point, it's important to hear, obviously, from the senator. So what I'll do until he comes on is put on the message of the Prime Minister now, rather than put it at the end. And so we can fill in the time until such time as the senator is able to join us. So Emily, let's go ahead and put on Prime Minister Mitsotakis' message to the Greek communities around the world on the occasion of his country's 200th anniversary of independence. The Prime Minister of Greece, ladies and gentlemen.
Στη Βιέννη τυπώνει ο Ρήγας το πρώτο προσκλητήριο. Συμπατριώτες μου, στην αυγή του 3ου αιώνα της ελεύθερης και ανεξάρτητης ζωής της, η Ελλάδα μας γιορτάζει τα 200 χρόνια της Επανάστασης του 1821. Με το βλέμμα να στρέφεται όχι μόνο στο Μοριά, στη Ρούμελη ή στα νησιά που ξεσηκώθηκαν τότε, αλλά και πέρα από τα σύνορα. Στον οικουμενικό ελληνισμό, που ακμάζει στα πέρατα του κόσμου, κρατώντας όμως πάντα τη σκητάλη των προγόνων του εξωτερικού, που κι αυτοί υπήρξαν πρωταγωνιστές του εθνικού αγώνα. Ο ίδιος σπόρος της αναγέννησης έφτασε άλλωστε από τις ελληνικές κοινότητες του εξωτερικού. Στη Βιέννη τυπώνει ο Ρήγας το πρώτο προσκλητήριο της ελευθερίας, το θούριό του. Και στην ίδια πόλη συστήνεται η Φιλόμουσος εταιρεία. Στο Παρίσι ιδρύεται το Ελληνόρωσον Ξενοδοχείο για τη διάδοση των ελληνικών γραμμάτων. Και από εκεί δημοσιεύει ακούραστα ο Κοραής, αλληλογραφώντας για τον αγώνα με έναν από τους πατέρες του αμερικανικού έθνους, τον Τόμας Τζέφερσον. Ενώ στην Οδυσσό ιδρύουν οι τρεις έμποροι, Σκουφάς, Ξάνθος και Τσακάλοφ, τη φιλική εταιρεία. Οι Έλληνες διασποράς θα βρεθούν όμως και στην πρώτη γραμμή της μάχης. Οι ηρωικοί φοιτητές του Ιερού Λόχου ξεκίνησαν την εξέγερση στο Δραγατσάνι. Οι ομογενείς μας συνέρεσαν αμέσως από παντού στην Ελλάδα για να πολεμήσουν. Και φλογεροί πατριώτες στο Λονδίνο και το Παρίσι, στη Νέα Υόρκη και τη Βοστόνη, εμψύχωσαν το φιλελληνικό κίνημα και έκαναν δωρεές για την ενίσχυση του αγώνα. Όταν οι Έλληνες ελευθερώθηκαν, απλώθηκαν στις 5 γωνιές του κόσμου, χωρίς να ξεχάσουν όμως ποτέ τη μητέρα πατρίδα. Οι γενιές ανανεώνονται μακριά της, αλλά επιστρέφουν για να συμμετάσχουν στους πολέμους της εθνικής ολοκλήρωσης και αργότερα στο έπος του 1940. Ενώ στο πέρασμα του χρόνου, οι ομογενείς δεν σταματούν να πρικίζουν τον τόπο καταγωγής τους, με ιδρύματα, νοσοκομεία και σχολεία. Στηρίζοντας πάντα τα δίκαια του ελληνισμού με την επιρροή που κέρδισαν με την προκοπή τους στις νέες τους πατρίδες. Συμπατριώτες μου, στα 200 χρόνια της πορείας μας, η Ελλάδα συχνά λησμόνισε τα απόδημα παιδιά της. Όμως αυτό ανήκει πια στο παρελθόν. Η πολιτεία φρόντισε πλέον να διευκολύνει τους Έλληνες του εξωτερικού να ψηφίζουν από όπου διαμένουν. Η κυβέρνηση έχει δρομολογήσει την ψηφιακή εξυπηρέτησή της στα προξενία και προγράμματα εκμάθησης ελληνικής γλώσσας ταξιδεύουν σε όλο τον πλανήτη. Κάτι καλό λοιπόν γίνεται στη χώρα μας και σας καλώ να το κάνετε καλύτερο στη δική σας σκέψη. Ήδη τα κέντρα του κόσμου, από το Σίδνεϊ και το Τορόντο μέχρι τη Ουάσιγκτον και τις Βρυξέλλες, τιμούν τα ελληνικά χρώματα. Και ο οικουμενικός ελληνισμός γιορτάζει ταυτόχρονα με την εθνική εστία τα 200 χρόνια του αγώνα. Σε 46 χώρες, οι απόδημοί μας, σε συνεργασία με την Επιτροπή Ελλάδα 2021, προωθούν 319 δράσεις. Σήμερα η Ελλάδα αμήνεται με επιτυχία στην πανδημία. Εμβολιάζεται με γρήγορους ρυθμούς και βλέπει την έξοδο από την παγκόσμια δοκιμασία και την είσοδο στην οικονομική και κοινωνική ανάπτυξη. Ένα νέο εθνικό στίχημα που θα χρειαστεί και την αρρωγή της ομογένειας. Σύντομα οι νέοι που έφυγαν στα χρόνια της κρίσης θα μπορούν να γυρίσουν, καθώς η Ελλάδα θα χρειαστεί την όρεξη και τη γνώση τους. Οι οριμότεροι θα βρουν στη χώρα καινούργιες ευκαιρίες για επενδύσεις. Και όλοι, σε κάθε ταξίδι τους στην πατρίδα, θα συναντήσουν πάντα ένα ζεστό χαμόγελο. Τιμώντας τον αγώνα του 1821, δίνουμε τον αγώνα του 21ου αιώνα, το δικό μας δημιουργικό αγώνα. Τότε ήταν η Επανάσταση της Εθνικής Ανάστασης. Σήμερα είναι η επανάσταση της εθνικής ανάταξης.
Emily? Ladies and gentlemen, we are about 5 minutes away from our last speaker who will come on live, and that's Senator Van Hollen. So if you can please indulge with us and try to wait it out. For now, what we'll do is we'll just put up the sponsors of our program. Let me thank also our staff at the American Hellenic Institute. Elias Yarostoulis, which I mentioned earlier, our Director of Legislative Affairs, who's done a tremendous job in helping to arrange for many of the speakers that you saw here today and for scheduling this 2-hour commemoration. And let me thank Emily Pandis, who has helped put together all the audio visuals and as always works as a producer for these Zoom presentations that we host at the American Hellenic Institute. Yola Pakchanian of our staff, who does so many things, and of course, all our board of directors, members, and supporters. But I also want to especially thank our Congressional Salute to Greek Independence Day sponsors once again. And I'd like to put them on the screen right now to be acknowledged and recognized. And like I said, I am waiting for Senator Van Hollen, which was told will be with us at 11:50. A very important friend of the Greek American community and a very strong member of Congress and an important member of Congress in the U.S. Senate. And so I would certainly hope that all those who are viewing the presentation will be able to wait and to listen to Senator Van Hollen. If we were on Capitol Hill right now, we would be indulging in some hors d'oeuvres and enjoying Greek dances. But there he is, Senator Chris Van Hollen. So Emily, if we can get off the screen. Senator, I was trying to fill in some filibustering time here.
Well, I'm trying to end the filibuster over here, but I'm glad you used a little bit of it there. I understand you're running a little early on the schedule, so good to...
Incredibly, 15 minutes early. I never would have, with 17 speakers, and about, I don't know how many videos and everything else, and we're 15 minutes ahead of schedule. But what can I say? I thank you so much, Chris, for Senator Van Hollen, for always supporting our presentations, and a good friend of the American Hellenic Institute. We go back so many, many years, and I can't say enough good things about all the work that you're doing to promote U.S. interests in the Eastern Mediterranean and to strengthen the Greece-U.S. Cyprus relationship, which is critically important to the projection of those U.S. interests in a very unstable region of the world, but a very critical region of the world. And without further ado, I congratulate you, I welcome you, and I thank you for being here today to help us celebrate 200 years of Greek independence. And Senator, you are the closing, you are the cleanup hitter. You're the last man today to speak. So we look forward to your comments.
Well, Nick, first of all, thank you for that kind introduction. Most of all, thank you and AHI for all your leadership on these issues, which draw a clear line from the 200 years of Greek independence and even farther back to the roots of the idea of democracy in ancient Greece to today. There's that clear arc as we gather to support the values that bring the United States together with Greece, but also the Hellenic values that gave so much to democracies and to the world. And I think it's important that we celebrate those and remind ourselves of those roots as we tackle the big issues that face us today. So it's good to be with you as we celebrate 200 years of independence. I want to thank your board at AHI as well. and everyone who's joining us. I don't know if the Archbishop is with us, but I want to thank him for his leadership of the Greek Orthodox community here in the United States and others around the world. I want to just say thank you for the good representation from the Greek and Cypriot ambassadors. I don't know if they're still with us, but to all of you, this is a moment both to reflect on those roots, and I would remind people that it was Thomas Jefferson who referred to ancient Greece as, quote, the light which led ourselves out of the Gothic darkness, unquote. And then, of course, as we mark 200 years of independence, it was important that that lightness continue. So here we are. We have to really double down as we have a new president in the White House, President Biden, Vice President Harris, on the president's longtime commitment to those values of democracy, of human rights, of rule of law, and make sure that we apply them consistently. And that means continuing to deepen and strengthen our relationship with Greece. And I look forward to continuing to do that as a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and also the Appropriations Subcommittee on Foreign Operations. And also with respect to maintaining the rule of law. And what we've seen in the Eastern Mediterranean, unfortunately, is continued violations by Turkey of the rule of law, both in terms of incursions into Greek airspace, incursions into the territorial waters of both Greece and Cyprus, the continued occupation of Cyprus and that scar that runs down the island, and as we see continuing efforts to unfortunately maintain this relationship with Russia on the purchase of the S-400s. And a faithful NATO ally doesn't enter into major arms purchases from Russia. As we all recall, NATO was formed to counteract the Soviet Union, and so it's totally inconsistent with their obligations as a member of the NATO alliance to do so. So all these current day events are simply reminders to all of us that we have to adhere to those values that we celebrate today: independence, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. And it is good to be celebrating them with AHI, because AHI is an organization that was established to stand up for those principles and those values. And we need to make sure that we're applying those values to the real world. And that's what AHI is all about. So good to be with you. I look forward to continuing to work with you and to all of you celebrating, all of us celebrating here, gathered here. I do look forward to when we can do this again in person with the dancing and the music and everything that so livens Hellenic culture and the Greek American community, which is such an important part of the American community. So good to be with you.
Thank you, Chris. And we definitely look forward to the day when we can celebrate in person and enjoy some food, enjoy the dancing. We did have earlier an international soprano from Greece who did sing the national anthems, at least, so we're able to be able to do that. But Chris, you're so correct in your comments, and I appreciate you being forthright in terms of the way you stated it. There are others, who just want to hide a little bit and not call out Turkey, even though they know what Turkey is doing. And I'm very strong of opinion that we need to call out Turkey openly as being the provocateur and being the aggressive actor in the region. It doesn't serve any purpose to do it only behind the scenes. And from your position on the Foreign Relations Committee and your understanding of the issues, going back to being a top staff person on the committee many years ago, you know exactly what is being done here. The rule of law needs to be always upheld. Values, principles, democratic values of the United States and Greece, and that is the core values that we should promote in foreign policy around the world. So we look for you for your leadership. And especially, you have a unique position from your committee because people come before you for confirmation and for explanations on other things when it comes to foreign policy. And I believe one of those will be coming up tomorrow, is my understanding. So we look forward to your leadership in asking the appropriate questions and making sure we put, the administration on the record and make sure they keep their eye on the ball as it relates to issues that are core, important to U.S. geostrategic interests in the Eastern Mediterranean. But as always, I thank you, and please give my best to your wonderful wife, another good friend, and continue to do the good work that you do for the people of Maryland and for the people of the United States of America. So we thank you, Chris, and always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Nick, and I will certainly, pass along your good wishes to Catherine, and thank all of you for coming together for this celebration.
All my best, my friend. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our annual Congressional Salute to Greek Independence Day, this year virtually, next year hopefully in person, where we can do it in the right way. But nonetheless, on behalf of the American Hellenic Institute, it is a pleasure that we were able to host this today. We thank all those members of Congress, the ambassadors, Anastasia, and others who will help participate today and to help us celebrate the ongoing celebrations that are going regarding the 200th Bicentennial of Greek independence. So with that, once again, thank my staff, thank the sponsors, thank the Prime Minister of Greece for his message to the communities, and wish the people of Greece continued good health, eleftheria, and all the best. And of course, for us, we will do our work and continue to do it to advocate for the strong U.S.-Greece relationship, but of course also a strong U.S.-Cyprus relationship based on the rule of law. So with that, thank you once again. Good afternoon, and wishing you a good day. Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.